Now the recording has started, so we'll continue with the recording and I'll upload it on the YouTube later. So in the main component, we will have yeah. So in the main component, we will have UL element, which will have all the lists, and we are not going to create separate component for this UL. We will be using the HTML tag UL, and inside the UL, and there will be a form, and let's remove this one, and we will have one component li list li component. Let me draw the tree. Yeah, so this is how our application tree would look like. So in the main component, we will store all the array of tasks, and this li will display the tasks, and this form will collect the tasks. Like what will happen, we will collect the tasks from here and will send it to the main, and then main will send it to the li. So this is how our application flow will look like. So which method should I use to collect the data from the form and send it to main? Hello.
Amit.
Yeah, and uh, which method should I use? I mean, which what should I use to send the data from main to li?
Prof.
Props. Yeah. So let's create our components. So in the week 3 to do view to do, what I will do, I'll create a folder components.
Sir, I have a doubt over here. Like you are creating
Yeah.
prop here just to send the data. Right?
Yeah.
What if you just directly call the functions, whatever you just wanted to call inside it, and you don't create prop? Will that work or not?
Where are you creating the function?
No, you are collecting data from phone, sending it to main,
Yeah.
and then it to
Yeah.
li. For that
Yeah.
purpose, you are creating prop.
Yeah.
So
From
my question is inside component if you kind of call some, I'm not saying setter getter function, not getter function, but some kind of a getter function, okay, which directly uh, which will be automatically called when you basically use the component. But because there is a kind of a question in the graded assignment where
yeah.
uh, when we are directly calling that function is without using the prop, that function is calling function is working fine over there.
Yeah, the first thing you tell me, where are you creating the form? You are the function in the main component.
Yeah, in the component, right?
In the component, I mean, there are like multiple components. Can you be specific? Which component? Main component.
Can you just show me the code?
So we have not written the components yet.
Okay, okay. Yeah, if you just wanted to call it the main component, yeah, in main component I'm saying that.
So in the main components, you are creating a function which are like which is changing the data of li.
Yeah, not change. Yeah, changing the data. If you just wanted to use some derived data, yeah.
So I don't think it's possible, because any method can only like manipulate the data of its own component. So every component is a isolated entity.
And if we just call that function, and it will just return the value, not change the value. It just return the value whatever we have collected in the form, and
Yeah.
just basically display it on when we just call this component. Will
So
that work?
let me write the code, and then maybe in the code you can explain what you are trying to say.
Okay, okay.
So I think I should go to the yes. Okay. So we already have a like view instance. If you go to app.js, we have a view instance. We have the EL app and the template. This is the template which we want to like split it multiple components, and it has the data, and it has the computed and all these things. And we have the HTML, and the HTML has only a div with idea. So now what we will do, we will create the component separately. So the first component I want to create is the header component, header.js, header.js. And in the header.js, I'll start with the export and com const header header is equal to. So I'll define the template for it. Template, and this template will have a root, but as we discussed, it should have a root for each template for each component. So we have a div element inside this. I'll just only write welcome to to simple component. And now let's create one more component, call it footer footer.js. And inside the footer, I'll just copy everything from here. Control V, and delete it. Yes. Okay. And now these are pretty static components. If you want, we can add the navigation bar in header and header, but we are not going to focus on that. We are only going to in today's session we are only going to focus on the main component. So header and footer will be static component. We will be going to improve this header and footer in future live sessions, but not today. So this is the main.js, and inside the main.js we'll start with the pretty static component. I'll copy the header component again. This is already copied. And this is, and now what we will do, We will
So
inside
don't
the
we need
main
to change the name of the component, or can it be still header?
no header, but it should start with the capital letter. Otherwise, there will be conflict between the header tag of HTML.
I understand, but both in header.js and main.js, we are using the same header
Oh, okay.
variable.
So now in index.html in the app.js, I just create one more file here, and I just store everything that is inside the app.js, the template of the app.js, so that we don't lose this template. And now I will just empty this template, and what I start with the team, I'll create a root, and now I will have to embed header main and footer in this template. So how do I start? These are the local component.
You could just put them as tags, right?
Yeah, but
I-
before that,
In prof, we will declare those. Yeah. First, we will
uh,
import. First, we will import,
yeah,
and then in prof, we will assign those datas of header, footer, and main.
yeah. In the components folder, we need to register them because they are local
Yeah. First, we
components.
have to register. Yes, the correct word is register.
So first, we need to import this. Import header from components as .js. Similarly, I'll have to import this code header from components slash footer.js, and then we'll have to import the main also. Main from component slash main.js. Now, before using this as a tag, we need to register them. So the way you register, you use the components prop, component option, and here you register your components. So all the components that are mentioned inside the components option will be recognized by this template. Otherwise, you cannot use a local component without registering it using the components option. So if you want to change the name, you can change the name like this, and you can. So this will be the tag name, and this will be the component which this will be the options object which we got from here. But if you don't want to change the name, you just simply write it like this. You don't have to do anything. This will act as a tag name also. Yes.
Sir, is this registering mandatory for component?
Yeah, if these are the local component, then you'll have to register it before using it in the template.
And what do you mean by local here?
Local and global we discussed in the last session.
Okay.
So there are two kinds of components. One is local and one is global. The global component is the component which you use, which you create using the constructor view.components, and they are already registered, so you don't have to register it with your instance,
Okay.
like this view constructor. So, and if you are creating the local component, like you just define the options object, and then you can register it inside any view component, and then use it inside the template.
And how to
And
create the global one then?
I told you the global one, the global component is created using view.components constructor.
Okay, view dot component constructor.
Yeah, but here you are not using any constructor. You are just defining the options object.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, we discussed it in last session.
Fine.
Okay. Okay. So now let's run this. What one thing I did new here. So this time I didn't create a new name for the components. I just wrote the name of the uh, what we say options object, and it will be considered as a name of that component. Like I can use the header main and footer directly here. And one way was the way which we did in the last session, like we assigned a explicit name here. If we let's header, and this can be one way. So either you can define an explicit name for the component, or you can just register with the name of the options object, and you can directly use it inside the templates. So I prefer this way because like it saves some time. So let me start this application. Open the flash. Import declaration may only appear at the top level of a module. This is new kind of error. Import declaration may only appear at the top.
Sir, in the index.html, when you
Yeah.
are using that script tag, there we have to write
Oh,
type equals.
yeah. Now it's working. So you can see that in the header it says the welcome to To-Do app, and this is main from the main, and then this is the head footer. So now let's improve this main because this was our aim. So
Sir, one
now,
question.
Yeah.
So the components are being displayed in the order they are listed in the components directive.
Yes.
So if you change the order, the order will also change there.
Yes. So this is kind of like you are writing these templates inside a single HTML file. Like you are copying and pasting it in a file. Yeah, the order matters. That's what. So if you'll put it here, then the footer will appear first. I'll remove this now. And I will use the sites. In the main.js, now we are done. We are here, so we have created all three components. Now we are going to create li and form. So we will not call li. I will call it tasks. Task.js, and in the task.js, I will get code const. I'll call it. The name will be task, and I'll define the template. So how does this task look like? So this task will display a specific task. So right now what I will do, I will just create a data for this task, and then we will replace it with the data which we will get from the main component. Does this make sense? Okay, let me write it. It will be li element, that's li, and inside the li I will write task. And this data will come from our data option. Data option, and in the data that we discussed last time, in the component data option is always a function, so it will return a task from. This will display this task. So whatever the value of this data is, it will be displayed here inside the li. And we will create one more. I'll call it task form. Task form.js. So inside the task form.js, we'll create a export. I'll start with the export. Const task form. So this task form will have a template, and inside the template, I'll start with the div. And what should I put inside this template? How does our like form look?
Input.
Yeah, there will be an input and there will be a button.
Hmm.
So I should have an input type equal to text. I will close it here, and there will be a button. I'll call it add task. This is the text displayed on the button, and slash view. So our task form is done, but what should I do? Like I have to collect the data from this form. So I should be binding it with some data which we want to send it to the parent when I will click on this button. So I need to store that data. So for that I'll need a data option. Return. I will call it task let's start with the null. And what should I do? How should I bind this task data with the input field? So whenever someone will change this input field, this task data will change. So which directive should I choose?
V model.
Yeah. So that will be two-way binding. So if someone will change the input data, the task data will change, and if someone will change the task data, the input data will change. So the model is the thing, and now I will task data. So we have remodeled it, this input field with the task data. Now, okay, let's go and check whether okay. So what we need to do. So where should I include this task form and the task.js? So if you go here, so I mean, where should I include these two things?
Main.
Yeah. So I'll go to the main, and first thing I'll do, I'll have to import this to import task from put it in the curly braces from component task. Yes, and import what was the name task form. Task form from .js. Now I have imported these two things. I'll have to what should I do now before using this in main?
Components.
Yeah, I'll have to register it.
Register it. Yeah.
Components, and inside the components, I'll not again change the name. I'll keep the task name as task name, tasks, and task form. Now I'm allowed to use this components inside this template. So I will remove this from name, and I will include this task. What was this task form? Okay. Now let's check whether it's being reflected on the screen.
Shouldn't the order be different, sir?
Okay, this one. Task. The task will be displayed, and the task form I am keeping it like beneath the task.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But there is some issue. I'll have to figure it out first. So where was that? Add task is fine. It's in the task component. Okay, let me go to the. Okay, now what in here? Li.
Input, sir. Input is creating a problem, I think. Or
Oh yeah. Input. Input type into text. Oh. Just forgot to close this. Yes. Now it's fine. Task from the component.
That /LA, I think there is a wrong tag close.
Yeah, it works. It looks fine now. So what I can do is like inside the index.html, what I'll do, I'll just write some style. Type a style equal to main.js. I'll give it a ID. ID is equal to main. Just to keep things clean, main component. I will do. Yeah. Main component. What is this? AIN. Name was where this main.js. I mean, this is the problem with the text editor. It's auto correcting it. Okay, let's not get into this. Let's go to task main.js, and then here inside the main component, instead of I'll just define the style inline margin and this is okay, and inside the tasks style is equal to that in. Okay, so now everything is done. So we are here now. So we have created all our component. The only thing remaining is we need to transfer the data from form to main and from main to li. So let's go to the main component. So inside the main component, we need the data, and so it should be a function because this is a so I will keep all the tasks under this tasks array. I'll call it task, and this will be an array. I'll start with the empty array, or let's have a default array, default task. Now, so if I will go to the what I want to do is whenever some user input some value inside this input box, I want to collect the data and send it back to the main component. So what should I do? First thing I need to do is like add a event listener here. So we'll be listening for the click event, and then what should I use? It should be emit.
Yeah.
I'll send the emit, and I will. So the way emit works, you create an event like whenever someone clicks on this button, you emit an event. So I'll call this event add task. Add task. Once you have this add task, I will be sending the data. So which data should I send?
Task data.
Yeah. So what will happen whenever someone will fill the form and click on the submit button, add task button, it will fire a event, add task, and that will along with this event, the task data will be sent. So we can handle this thing on the uh, parent, which is the main.js. So now, so we can come here and go to the task form and go to so whenever this add task event happens, so this is how you handle the event. So, for example, for the click, you write either you can write beyond or you can use the @ sign. So add task, whenever the add task happens, what should I do? I should be pushing that data in the task array. Task dot push task.push, and the way the variable which you use to store that data is everything is fine.
So in seventh line, it is task at the rate at task.
Yes. So now go here and go to the two components. So inside the task, so we can say no, go to the main component. So in the main component, we have a task which is called default task. Now let's add the task one. Let's add it. Okay, and see. Okay, I wanted to check whether it works. It is working. So if I'll refresh, everything will be gone. So let's pass this data to this task. So inside the task.js, what we will do, we'll use the props, and we'll use the array, and I will call it task. Long name. And now what I can do is like I can use this dot to change this task. So what I did, I got the task from the parent and then I modified this task. So if I will go here, what happened? And this doesn't throw an error. So Okay, I have not passed this data to here. I will pass the over the name of this task from parent. And this is not a very good name, but parent equal to, I will bind it with the, okay. So because this is a array, so we need to use b for to like get all the individual tasks. For now, let's start with the case task. So we are able to pass the data from parent to child, and so we will be using b for to to iterate over this task array. B for equal to task, and I will call it in task, and then I will find this property with the task. So because we have only one task, that is default task, so it will be displayed. Let's use the task one. So you can see that these are being added. Any question?
So the props is displayed in the data form, right?
Yeah.
Task, the task.
Tasks, yeah, tasks are also the data. But what I have done, we created this task component with a dummy data task, and whatever I am getting from the parent, I'm just replacing this task with that data. So this is coming from the parent, which we passed from here. So task from parent, we have binded it with the task which we are getting from here. Okay, and then inside here I am just I will receive it as a task from parent. You just see the name, the task from parent and task from parent. So this should be the same. Like this is the variable which we are assigning it in the parent. And then what I did, because we started with the task, this was the dummy data, I just rewrote that tasks variable with this task from parent. Because this is also a data, so we can access it using this keyboard. Please start task from parent. Now everything works fine.
Okay, just to clarify,
Yeah.
the props directive is saying I'm getting this task, this property from the parent,
Yeah.
right? And the return is returning it back to the parent.
No. This return is not for the parent. So we are not returning anything to the parent.
Okay,
That data is being displayed. I mean, the return statement you are seeing because this is because of the syntax. Because when you are creating a component, the data option should be a function. So whatever this data function returns will be the data for this task component.
okay, so that way both of them are basically referring to the same thing. Props is saying that I am getting this from the parent,
Parent, yeah.
and the data is acting on that property and doing something. Okay.
Yeah, you cannot say this. What I'm saying that this is the main data of your application. I mean, for this component. So
Okay, got
whatever
it,
we
sir.
are,
Yeah.
yeah, we are including. We can use this data in the template. I mean, we can bind this data with the template, and this props is like coming from this is the parent's data. We are not returning anything. We are just getting from the parent.
So from form.js, we are getting it into the main.js, and then we are sending that data to task.js, right?
Yes.
Yes. So can you open this main.js, how it is coming from form.js, how the data is coming?
Yeah, I will explain it again. See,
Yes.
so in the task form.js, so this is the data for the main data for the task form. So this is the main data for the task form. That is, this task form has a task data. This has only one data, that is task data. And now
Okay.
we have an input element which we have v modeled with this data. That is, v
Yes.
modeling means this is two-way like two-way binding. That if someone will change this input field, this task data will change.
Okay. Yeah.
And then what we are doing here, so from this button element we have like added a click event here, to this associated a click event with this button element. And whenever this event happens, we are emitting an add task uh, uh, event add task event, and this add task event we are handling it in main.js. So if you come here, so we are handling this add task event. So the way this is the way you handle the event in the view. So
So
you
one
use at
second.
the rate or beyond. Yeah.
Yeah. So here in task form, we are from task form we are taking this event at the rate at task,
Yes.
and then pushing this event into tasks,
Yeah.
right?
Task. Yeah.
Task
Task array.
is a data here in main.js, right?
Yes.
So before that, we are having one element in task array, that is default task. So whenever
Yes.
we add in this tasks, then it will be get edited into tasks, right?
Yes. Yes. And because this is changing,
Yes.
this and the view is reactive. What is happening now? Our like our task array has two elements. One
Yes.
is
No.
default task and the task which we inserted.
Okay.
And then because we using v4, so that there will be the number of copies for the task and component will be the number of data in the tasks array. So now we have two task component
Sir,
corresponding to each.
here's the confusion, sir, because you are returning this tasks, right? And how it is referring to main?
This one
Yes.
returning.
Yeah,
I
tasks.
mean, don't worry about the returning. This return statement is only the like syntax.
Okay, but
This is the syntax.
somewhere we
See,
are taking na tasks to the main, right?
uh, to the main. So we are not sending it anywhere.
Okay.
I mean, this is the I don't know. So don't even think about this return statement. This is just a syntax.
Okay,
So
sir.
yeah, what it says that the data for this component, the main data, I would say. I mean, there are multiple type of data like computer property, props, and all. But this is how you define the main data for your component. Like
Okay.
all those data are like derived from somewhere or get or the data which we got from the parent. But this data which we define for this component particularly, it's not
Okay.
coming
Okay.
from anywhere. This is not defined. I mean, this is not derived property. This we define for our component.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, and the whatever the return value of this data function will be, this is an object, and this is, I mean, this object whatever we are returning is the main data for our
Yes.
component.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so don't confuse with this return statement.
So
Just a
okay.
syntax.
So tasks are returned by this. data function, whatever it is.
I mean,
So
don't use this return. This, I mean, this is very confusing. Don't
oh,
use this return.
okay, so it is taking task in the sixth line, right?
Yeah.
In the sixth line when we are using this v4.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the case, right?
Yeah. What happened is like, so initially we had only one task, so we had only one copy of task component, right?
Yes.
Now what we did, we added a task using this task form. We added one extra task in this task area, because what we did, we fired an event from this task form component, and we like handled that event in this task in here. And what we did, we like we inserted that whatever it sent, like it sent some task, and we added it in that this task now.
Okay. Yeah.
And now what, because this the view is reactive,
Mhm.
so it will automatically change. I mean, it will automatically rerun this part.
Okay. So, sir, can you explain this part also? Sixth part.
Okay,
Sixth
sixth
line.
line.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens? So V4 is a directive which you use to like iterate over some array,
Okay.
like array, or you can. I mean, it can be any iterable like object. So what happens? So for each element, for our case, this is an array. So for each element in this array, it will create a copy.
Okay.
And like we had two elements, so there will be two copy of this task, because the this is the way for works for
For
like.
task, it will create a two copy, right?
Yes,
For
it will create two copy.
capital Task dot JS.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, this will look something like this.
Then, sir, what we are doing here in colon task from parent task
Yeah,
key
this
index.
is, I mean, this is the syntax to pass the data. I mean, this is how you pass the prop.
So the colon is important, right? I think
Yeah,
even the inspector. Yeah.
the colon is for binding. Like if you remove this, I mean, this is only, it will only print tasks. So it will only say tasks.
Okay. So
Because
okay.
yeah, this task is for binding. Like if you have written this, that means this task is a JavaScript variable which we are getting from this data function, data offset. Not in the data, but this is some kind of data.
Yes. Okay. Task from
uh,
parent. Okay. Okay, sir.
See that this name and this name and this name are same.
Okay, so task from parent, in this task from parent, we are getting task, and then we are replacing in this template, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And just to clarify,
Yeah,
so now the job of task.js
yeah.
is to do something with each task, right?
Yes,
Now it is displaying it, but
yeah,
we could say that it will add some color to it and all that stuff, and
yeah,
everything could be under
yes,
task.js.
yes,
So the main is just passing it a task by one. That's all.
yes. That's all.
So this task.js, for example, could be deleting the task also.
Yeah. I mean, we can add a delete button here. Let's do that. Button and slash du button, and then delete. DELE DU. So it will show delete here. Okay. I should be inside the li. I'll wrap it inside the span. So you can see that there is a button here. Now, once someone clicks on this button, it should delete that task, right? So what should be the strategy?
We have to add
So
an action there, right? Or a href.
no, why href? Like we are maintaining our data in the main app, right? In the main component. So whatever task we want to delete, we just want to delete that element from that tasks array. Here it is. So when we wanted to add a task in this task, we wanted to when we wanted to like display the task, the extra task, what we did, we added the task in this task array. So if you want to remove that task from the task array,
We have to pop it, but
yeah,
who should do it? Task.js
yeah.
or main.js?
So task.js should send a signal to the main.js that this is, see, this task.js cannot directly manipulate the data of main.js because these are two separate entities. So
Okay, so you
if
should
this
send
task,
something. Yeah.
yeah, it should send something that delete the task, and so it will send a signal and a ID. The way we did, the way we handled this task form, what it's saying, what it's doing, whenever some user clicks on this button, it is sending a signal add task, and then we are sending some data with this add task with this signal, and that parent is like getting the data, and whenever it's getting this signal, it is just inserting it inside this task array. So the similar thing I'll have to do it uh, with this delete button. I'll have to send some because this is in the task component, so it cannot manipulate the. I mean, task component cannot manipulate the data of main.js. So it will have to send a signal and the ID of the task. So which task I want to delete, and there I can like handle that, and inside the main I can handle that.
So
The
sending the
way I
signals
handle.
again using the $emit directive.
Yeah, dollar emit, correct. So at the left click, you will do emit, and then I'll call it delete task, and then I will pass the ID. But here is the issue. So we don't know the ID of this task. So what I can do, I can, when I was passing, I can create one more prop. The reason why I'm creating a prop, because the ID of the task is only known in the main. So
Yeah,
if
that's
I
called
want
key.
to
Yeah, you're
use
putting the
this,
name key there.
yeah, the key is like different thing. It's like inbuilt prop which identifies it node identical array. I mean uniquely. So don't worry about that. He's he's like inbuilt in Vue.js. I'll call it index. I'll call it index. So I'll define a prop index. So this index I will get from the name. I'll go to the name and I will prop this call this index is equal to this index. I have created one more prop in the task. I have created props means I will get this data from the parent. So I will get this data from the main. Okay, and then I now I know both the task name and the index. So now I can pass this index. So whenever I am sending the single test task data, I will pass the index along with that signal. So now in the main.js, here here it is. So I'll have to handle this. Delete task is equal to, and delete task is equal to, so this is the signal name, and what I will have to do is task dot splice and the index, which, so index we will get in the event event and and I'll have to remove only one element. So we use this splice method to like remove the element. So this is the element where the remove procedure should start, and this is the number of element which we want to remove. So we are only want to remove the one. We only want to remove one element. That's why we have mentioned one here. And this is the event which we. This is, I mean, event is the variable which stores the data which have been sent from the child along with this task data signal.
Got it, sir. So
Now,
then can this be
huh?
a more complicated function instead of just one line of dot/push? Can it be more complicated?
Yeah. So yes, it can be. I will discuss it.
Maybe
But I
I
will
will wait for
the
the question
router
later.
also.
Yeah, I think it's a more later question. So I will.
Okay, let's delete this. So we are able to delete it also. So it's, I will add task 2, and if you want to delete index, this may cause the update error. Okay, don't worry. So you can add task and delete task. So maybe this is because of the duplicate key detected. Yes. Don't worry about that error. So now, so we can add, delete, we can do everything. So I'll come to that question which you asked. This is really easy question. So you can define a methods, and let's call this method delete task. Okay, method means a function. So we usually store the functions in the methods which we are going to invoke at a later point of time. Like if some event happens, then we will invoke this function. So I have created a function method delete task, and I will take the ID here, and I can, like, whatever I am doing here, I can do it here inside the delete task. And the best part is you don't have to even write the event here. ID. Okay. The view will automatically send the, I mean, the first parameter. So whatever the parameter you will specify here. So whenever you will bind this delete task with this delete task event, so instead of writing the JavaScript here inside this to inside this whatever we call it. So inside writing it here, instead of writing it here, what we are doing, we are creating a method, and then we are calling that method. We are just writing the reference of that method here, and so whenever this event happens, this will invoke this method, and we will automatically pass that event, the event $ event event variable to this function. So you can store it inside the ID. You don't have to write that $event. This will again work fine. If you want to delete, it will work fine. Does this answer your question?
Yes, sir, very much. Thank you. So, and just the references, the delete task, capital D, capital task is just
Yeah.
mentioned as a
This
reference,
is just a
right? There's
function.
not, there's no
Yeah.
bracket there. So it's not an invocation.
No. No. It's just a reference
It's,
that it says that whenever you receive this delete task signal, just run this function. So, and good part about this is like if let's say you want to send multiple, like more than one data, here we are just sending the index. If you want to, like let's say I want to send some text here, test. I will come to the main, and so I can receive that data here, ETA, and you can console dot log. What I'm trying to suggest here is like you can send the multiple data the from the side now. So if you this is like more organized way to handle this delete task signal.
great, sir. Thank you. And I don't think we should try to compare this with the Flask method that we did in MAD one.
No,
But
no, don't.
yeah, but I can see
It's
that it is a
okay.
declarative way of doing it, right? You're just declaring what
Yes,
should happen when, and the things get
yes, yes,
called. I mean, things get called automatically, right? Or when the
yes,
events happen.
yes. So whenever you are learning new framework, like you need to make some like mindset shift. You cannot think every framework in similar way. So, is there any question?
Sir, here the ID and data the arguments are taken from.
So here, when if you come here in that where are we sending here the task. So when you are emitting an event, so the first argument is always the name of the event, and rest of the arguments are like treated as the data. So we are sending index and test. These are the two data. The index is coming from the because we have not like I don't remember what we call it.
And what is delete
Yeah,
task over
this is
here?
index. Index is a variable, not a string. So index is coming from here. This props and the test is a string. So we are sending this signal along with these two data. And inside the main.js, so whatever the data you will send, you can receive it inside this parameter. The view will automatically associate those data to these parameters.
But sir, here the delete task, the D is capital, and there the D is not capital.
No, that is here.
Okay, you're binding it. Okay.
Yeah, so we are binding it with the delete task method. I mean, I'm changing the name.
Yeah, see, the action can be, you can call it signal 1, signal 2, signal 3 also, right? Doesn't matter. They just have to.
Signal one. Okay.
Sir, one question I had.
Yeah.
So, suppose we looking at an API perspective, what would be the APIs in this code that we have written?
So no, that I mean, this is the view is to create the front end. Create means all these data which we have right now. Let's say so if you go to this data, we are seeing that we have only tasks. So this task can come from the API. So what we can do, we can make a call from some methods, or we will learn about the lifecycle hooks. So which lifecycle hooks will be like triggered automatically. These are the functions which will be triggered automatically. So we can use those lifecycle hooks to like trigger an action which will to send a HTTP request to a API, and that API will send you a data, right? So what API does? So you'll make a request to the API, then API will send you the data. So I mean, this lifecycle hooks are automatically triggered functions, so we can use those to like send the request to the API, and once we get the data from the API, we can like what we say, we can like reassign this data, and everything will work. So did you understand what I'm saying? That this task can be get from the API. We'll discuss it.
Okay, I think that is probably in a later week, so probably I'm
Yeah.
asking ahead of time. So
For now, you can like you can understand that this task can come from the API also. There is a way to like reassign the task with the data from data which came from the API. So the view is only to create the front end. Okay. So I will be back in a minute. So now we will look at the router view routers. So if you go to this code and this whole thing, so this root component have create. So this is a single page. This is one page. So when you are creating an application, that application might have multiple pages. Like let's say, so this is a large. If this is a large application, there might be a profile page, or there might be a home page where you can give some description about your application, and the let's say it has the authentication, like you have associated the authentication process with your application, like your application can authenticate the user, and for that you will need the login form. and sign a form. So there will in the application there can be multiple pages. So, but what we have learned till now is like we have a single page and we are decomposing that single page in multiple components. What we have learned till now. This is what we have learned till now. So what we are going to do now is like we will learn how to create multiple pages and then using those and how to map those pages to the URL so that when you like change the URL, the page changes. I don't know whether you guys understood or not. Let's say you have this page and this is the home page. So if you change on the let's not write it index, let's write it home. This so based on this URL, the like view changes. In short, what I'm trying to say that we will create the components and we will associate those components with a route. So now using this mechanism, we will have multiple pages in a single application. So based on the route, we can associate multiple. We can associate a component with the route the way we did in the Flask. In the Flask, what we did, so we had a view function and we had a route. We used the decorator to associate that route with the view function. So whenever some user used to send a request to that route, that view function used to get executed. The similar thing will happen here. So now in this case, we are not going to associate the view function with the route. We are going to associate the component with a route. So whenever someone will visit that route, that component will be displayed.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now what we will do, so let's create one.
So routing in Flask will be different from routing here in
Yes, yes.
using Vue.
So yeah,
How it will
because
be
in
different?
the yeah, I'll tell you. So in the Flask is a server-side application. So whenever someone is like visiting a route, he's sending a request to the server. So
Okay.
there is HTTP involved in this process.
Yeah. Hmm.
But in the Vue, it's not the case. Everything will be downloaded on the in the browser, and whenever you are changing this route, you are just changing the component. Everything is already in the browser. You don't have to make the HTTP request.
Okay.
Okay, let's.
Okay,
let's
so
go to
without, sir,
yeah.
yeah, so what I have understood is without sending a HTTP request, the
Yeah.
page will be loaded, right?
Yeah, the page will be loaded because the page. So whenever you will make in the single page application, what happens when you visit the base URL,
Yeah.
the website sends all the data related to the application. So everything is already stored in your browser.
Yeah.
So using that route, you are changing the component to see the different views.
Oh, okay, sir.
So if everything is already downloaded in your browser, you are not seeing everything like in one go.
Okay. Okay, sir. Got it. Yeah. Okay.
So let's set up the router first. So I'll go to the view router. Router. I'll go to the view router, and we will be using the view router 3 because this is compatible with the view 2. And we are writing our code in view 2, so we'll have to use this view 3. all you have to go, all you have to do is to go to this View Router homepage and change the version from here. The default version is 4, so and copy this CDN from here, Control C, and paste it. Where is the app.index.html? Here is the index.html. I will paste it here. Script src. Okay, now we have like attached the CDN of the router with our HTML. Now we'll learn how to create the how to associate the component with the route. So there, I will create one more folder. We'll call it view VIEW. The reason we are calling it view, like there are components which will contribute to create a single view. Like if you see here main, so this task.js and task form, these are not creating a single page. They are just contributing to create this main.js. Understood my point? So inside the
Yes.
main.js, yeah, we are not displaying task.js and task form. We are just embedding it inside the main.js. So this main.js is a view, and we are using these components to like complete this main.js. Okay. No, it's some app.js. So I would say that the difference between components and view is like the components are the components which we use to create view. Like view are the whole page, and components are the small parts of that page. The difference will be clear once we'll write some view. I mean, we already have written a view, which is called app.js. This one, if I remove it from here and create new component, so that will be a view. So let's call it home. But in that case, I'll have to remove everything from here. And let's not do anything. So what I will do here is I will create a component profile.js. I will be using the name view and profile and component interchangeably because there is no difference syntactically. It's just a, what do I say? So there is no syntactical difference. The way you create component, you create the view. Views are just special kind of components which we are going to use it inside the view router. So view is the whole page, and components are the parts of that page. But essentially, both are the components. I don't get confused. If you guys are getting confused, I'll remove the view. I'll use the name component.
Oh, that is okay, sir.
Yeah. So the view is just a special component, which is whole page. Const I will add with the export profile. Const profile is equal to, and I'll template div and slash div. And here I will say this is profile page. we already, I'll create one more view, this, to which we'll call home. Home.js. And I'll copy this one and paste it here. Home. And this is, I'll call it home page. Okay. Now we go to the app.js. So what I want to do is, like, instead of this main, like if you see a typical web page, the header and footer will remain same for all the pages. The only thing changes is like main component. Does this make sense? The header and footer
Yes,
remains
yes.
the same. Yeah.
Yes.
throughout
Yes, sir.
the whole page. Yeah. The only thing changes is the main page. So before doing anything, I'll create one more folder that is that I will call router. We'll be writing all our code related to the router in this folder, and I'll call it index.html. Call it index.html. At this index.html, I will be writing the code related to the router. So the router, as I said, that router maps a component to a URL path, to a path. So I will create the mapping. We'll call it const route routes, and these routes will be okay. JS. Yes. So these routes. So this route is an array which contains all the configuration of the different routes. It will contain the configuration of different routes. Like I'll create a route path. I mean the route with the path is like slash, which is usually for the you write for the home, and then I'll call it home. No. And I will create one more route that, and call it path slash profile. That means whenever someone will hit the base URL, this whatever the configuration of this path of this route will be triggered, and what I mean, we are going to associate a component with each path, with each route. So this is one route, and this is the second route. So this is the way you create the routes. So now you associate the components with this route. So what I will do, so before using this, I will copy this main to this view function. Okay, let's not do this. For now, let's keep it home. So for that, I'll have to import it from uh, import home from view.js. What's this? Router. Okay. View home.js. Yes, and similarly, I will import this profile. It's profile.js. So now what I am doing, I'll just associate this component home, and this I'll associate this path with the component profile. Profile. So what here in the configuration you can see that we have a path slash and slash profile. Slash profile means, yeah, you'll understand once I'll start writing in the web browser. So the path slash is associated with the home component, and slash profile is associated with the component, like the profile component. Okay. So, and now what we have to do, we'll have to register this router. Let me create the router instance here. New router. So this is the syntax to create a router. So what you will do, routes. So you pass the route, the configuration of the routes to the view router construction, and it will create a router. And what you can do, you can export this, and before using this view router, you will have to register it with the app. So you have, what you need to do, you need to import this, import ROUTES routes, router from router / index.js. So you imported this router instance, and all you have to do, you have to just register it, router, and that's it. So the steps involved in like configuring the router in your application is, what you do, you create the array of route configurations. And what is the route configuration? Like as I said earlier, that router will map the component with a path. So whenever someone will go to the slash path, the home component will be displayed. When someone will go to the profile path, the profile component will be displayed.
So you have to import routes, not router, right? In the main.
No. And then this is just all the configurations, like array of configurations. So when you create the router, you create the router instance using view router constructor. So this is the constructor to create view router. So the view router takes the parameter routes, which is the list of. If you want, you can copy this and pass it here. You can write it directly here. But like I like doing it separately. Like if you want, you can copy the routes and then copy everything from here to here. That's okay. So you don't need this. This is how you like create a view router. You use the view router constructor to create the router, and you pass the routes parameter, which is the like array of all the configurations of the routes, which is the array of all the routes. So this is called the configuration of a route. So this configuration says that map this slash to this component home. That whenever someone is hitting the slash path, just like display the home component. And when someone is hitting the slash profile path, just display this profile component. That's it. And once you have created the router instance, you just have to register it with your application. So this is your main application, right? So inside the main application, you just have to write the router. That's it. And now what I would do here is I'll remove this main for now. I'll be using this main, but just to demonstrate. Router VIPW router view and slash router. So the question is uh, where will the router display the content? Like I said that whenever you will hit the slash path, it will display the home component, like the home component. So where will it display the component? So this component will display. I mean, this is the component which the router used to display that component. I mean, here it will, wherever you will write router view, there it will display the component. Let me see. So welcome to the To-Do app, and created during the live session. The head, the footer, these will remain the same. The router will take that component and display it inside the router view. So this is very important. This router view component is being provided to us by the router like library. We're not creating it. Kind of it will wrap the component which is associated with that path and show it to us. And let's go to the profile now. Profile. So you can see that this is the profile page is being displayed. And let's do one thing. I will create one more view and I will call it. I don't need to create one more view. I will just copy this main here. Maybe something will break. View.main.js. Let's see. And I will go to the router. I will create one more configuration. And I will call it path. And here I will write task. And I will associate this main component with this component so that I will have to import it. Import main from /views /main.js. Like this. So now whenever I will hit this task, we can see our page which we created. So now I will just explain what is the difference between this view and the component. That so we have this home component. This main component is being created using this header, this task.js and task form and header and footer. So this header, footer, and task form, these are not coming directly. I mean, these are not the individual views. These are just supporting these views. So that's why we are keeping it in the components. And inside the view, we are just keeping all those components which are like directly associated with the path. So we have the router now. So any question?
So can you just show the main.js and the view part? It's not too different from the component part, right? It's pretty much the same.
No, they are both the same. They both are the components. I'm just splitting them in multiple folders so that the managing of our application will be easier.
Yeah, so which means the main.js that was there before has just been, you just copied it to the view folder.
Yes. I mean, all the files that are stored in the components are and the views all are components. The only difference is like these are the supporting components. When we are like hitting this slash task, we are displaying main.js, and main.js is being created using the footer, header, task, and task form, like task and task form. That's why they are in the components. We are not displaying a task.js and task form like individually. How do you say? These are just supporting tasks. So which are the components we are just supporting the view are stored inside the components, and all those files, all those components which we are using directly inside the router configuration. So if you go to the router configuration, so these are the views. So we are using this view. I mean, we are storing like we are arranging what you say. It's just an arrangement. These are component. All the files inside the components are the components, and all the files inside the views are also component. It's just that these all the components which we are directly using inside the router configuration, we are keeping it inside the view folder. That's it.
Sir, in
Nothing
app.js
special.
we has so in app.js we had changed the main address. Okay, yeah, dots. Okay,
Yeah,
import from,
I,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So
I
now
have.
the main.js will work fine because we are inheriting these component footer.js, header.js from components, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So there are more to like learn in the router, but we will be discussing the later sessions. For now, like if you like compare it with the Flask routes, you can see that you can pass some dynamic content with the route, right? So you can do that in the view also. Like you can pass some dynamic data with the like path. What I am trying to say is, like where is it? For now we are just writing the
So we
profile.
are just rendering the views, not
Yeah,
passing any.
yeah, we are not passing in data, but if you want, we can pass some data also.
Yes.
For
So, sir,
now,
can you,
we are not. Yeah, you go
nothing,
ahead.
sir. You can continue, sir.
No, what I was saying, right now we are not handling this data. That's why it's not showing
Yes,
anything.
yes.
It's pretty simple actually. I will just write it.
Yes, sir, got it,
So,
sir.
yeah. Okay. So if you guys have any question, you can ask.
Sir, my view is not working. Means I'm not able to open in my DevTools.
Okay.
So can you see it once?
Yeah, actually,
Even
in
I
order
added
to,
it in Mozilla Firefox also and in Chrome also, but it is not getting added.
no, but this Vue DevTools works with only Vue applications. Like
As it
if
is
the
owned
website
in
is,
the screencast, right? So
yeah.
same thing I did, but in DevTools, I'm nowhere getting the view option. That is
See,
the thing.
are you visiting a Vue application? So did you try visiting this Vue documentation?
Yes,
Yeah, open the view documentation and then open the DevTools.
So, okay. So you are saying that like I have to open the view uh, any website page of view,
Yeah, which includes view
which includes
and
view.
which is built on view, built in view.
Okay, okay, which is built on view. So let me, okay, I'll open this.
You try to open view documentation.
So then also it is not showing any option in the dev tool. So can I present my screen?
Yeah, okay. I don't know whether you guys are allowed to use.
Yes, sir. In other sections, I'm doing this
Okay.
whenever I have the doubt. So can I?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, sir, here I'm. Yeah. So can see in the dev tools nowhere I'm getting this view option. And this is the view website, right?
Yeah, it should come here
It
at
is
like
highlighting here. You can
next to
see,
the,
right?
yeah. Can you click on that?
Yes, I clicked over it. Nothing is happening.
DevTool inspection is not available. Can you hover over that icon? Because it's in the production mode. Okay, this is in the production mode. That's why. So have you created any view application?
Sir, yes, I think I have created and yeah. So yeah, let me show you if it is here, sir. Let me.
Is this view application? Because I can see
Uh,
that .py file.
no, sir. This one, this is the view, right? View page. One second, sir. This is a, I think this would be a view page, right? Because it is a view website.
Yeah, this but when you hover over this view icon, it says that you cannot access the DevTools because it's in the production mode.
Okay, this website. Okay,
Yeah.
is yeah. Okay, so I have created one. So let me open it once, if I can. So yeah.
Try opening this.
Yes, so it won't run because, yeah, this is week 4. Let me open this one. Yeah, this was not working. I have to see it is showing some error in local component. And yeah,
Yeah, you
so
have not inserted the type tag in the script. src index.html type is equal to
here,
module.
here I have to insert module. Okay, so let me run
Type
this
is
one.
equal to
Right?
module right now. Remove this text and JavaScript. Type is equal to module.
Okay, that is all.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me open this. So there are some errors
Run,
actually.
run it using live server. Na? You
It
have
is not
both installed.
showing. Previously, I installed. Right now, I didn't. So
Can you right click on this index.html?
yeah, okay. I'm not getting any option because it is not installed, I think. So yeah, I copied it the path and I was running. So it has some error because I was following you in the lecture. So just I maintained some certain notes. I have to change all these things. But so you can even see the red markers here. Okay, sir. I'll ask you in the next session if I face
Okay.
any problem.
You try creating a simple application and try
Yeah,
running it
using
using the
Vue.
Node,
Yes. Okay.
using Node or the live server.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So one more thing. If we can get these files, whatever you are teaching us
Yeah.
in the session, so if you
Okay,
can
I'll push it to the GitHub.
GitHub, yes, we can get it
Okay.
from there. Then
Okay.
yes, that is also okay.
Okay. Thanks. So should we close the session now?
Yes,
So
sir.
we can.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.